So what's the best and the worst thing about being on tour with everyone?
The best thing about being on tour with everyone is that we really honestly all do get along, thank God. So we get to have a lot of fun with each other. The worst thing I'd say about being on tour is, definitely it's hard being away from our real family. This is our extended new family, but being away from our real families, I think was, kind of difficult for us.
And for you, Amber?
Same.
Lea Michele apologized yesterday for the way she acts on set after former Glee co-star Samantha Ware called her out saying Lea was racist towards her. That opened the floodgates for former co-stars of various ethnicities from various shows she's worked on, telling their own story of how horrible Lea treated them.
We've already seen other people say that it was not the most comfortable environment.
I don't know if maybe we were victims of bullying, and that's a typical victim thing to do, is to blame yourself, which is people were saying. But it also is very true, and the only person who was honest about it was Naya.
Naya doesn't hold back in her new tell-all, Sorry, Not Sorry. Offset makeouts, a sex den apartment. It's all in there, including the drama between her and co-star Lea Michele.
You felt like she was unprofessional.
Definitely.
On the set.
Definitely.
You say that you weren't surprised when the child pornography charges came about.
He always was a very dark soul to me.
Naya Rivera speaks out on her ex-boyfriend and fellow Glee star Mark Salling. In June, the actor pleaded not guilty during his arraignment on 2 charges of
A quick editing note before we start the video is that when I filmed this video, I was very tired, and I think you can even see that. But I tried my best, and the editing of this video was also very hard. I don't know what it was about this video. I made my Colleen Hoover video that's even longer, but it was like, this one was really grueling. I don't even know why, but it was really hard. And also by the end, I started like, you can tell that this person is like tired, and yeah, so that is just my mental state when I filmed this video. Let's get into this video. I hope you enjoy. Hello, I'm back, and you've seen the title, and I finally have connected my microphone to my phone. I kind of hate my eye look today because I did not put mascara, and I'm not putting on mascara, and I don't want to put on mascara or lashes. So today, you've already read the title, we're going to be talking about the tumultuous cast of Glee. Now, with in light of my Gossip Girl video, do y'all get the reference with the red shirt? If you don't, click out this video. Not a true Glee. I'm joking. Keep on watching. Before we start the video, I know you're probably like, bitch, get to the point. Guys, my last video on Colleen Hoover has almost 2K views. I'm so thankful for that people clicked on that video and people watched it and people liked it. Thank you for all the people who liked the video. Oh my gosh, thank you for all the new subscribers. I will continue posting. I will not just go 3 months on a break, on hiatus. That's old me. Now we're here to we are serious now. So today we're going to be talking about the tumultuous cast and set of Glee. Now, this video is going to have its trigger warnings, and it's not, sometimes it's going to have lighthearted, funny, or stupid content, stupid topics, and sometimes it's going to have deep and serious content because people's lives are, I just want to get into the disclaimer before I get into this. I'm talking about real people. I'm not just talking about the show. I will be one day do a video on Glee, the show, but I'm talking about the set and cast of Glee. These are real people, and I just want to be respectful, and I hope in my script I've been respectful as possible. So there are trigger warnings for this video. Almost any trigger warning you can think about is going to be in this video. Like, truly, Glee is its the Glee cast and set was really crazy. So let's get into the video. So, if you're living under a rock, bridge, or tree, I don't know why when I turned on the camera, I was like having like, oh, I have to film this video. But when I turned on the camera, lights, camera, action, I became a star. Like, I don't know what it is. Um, what is Glee? And how successful was Glee? Like, we need to get into Glee and its success because Glee was a phenomenon. Like, Glee was very successful. And let's get into what Glee is and what the show is about, basically. So, this is according to Wikipedia. Glee, stylized as Glee, is an American musical comedy drama television series that aired on Fox Network in the United States from May 19, 2009 to March 20, 2015. It centers on the New Directions, a Glee club at the fictional William McKinley High School, which competes as a show choir while its disparate members deal with social issues, especially regarding sexuality, race, family, teen relationships, and teamwork. The series was created by Ryan Murphy, Brad Falchuk, I hope I'm saying that correctly, and Ian Brennan, the latter of whom conceived of Glee as a film. The three wrote all of the show's episodes for the first 2 seasons, and Murphy and Falchuk initially served as the show's main directors. The pilot episode was broadcast on May 19, 2009, and the first season aired from September 9, 2009 to June 8, 2010. Subsequent season aired from September through May. The sixth season and final season of Glee aired from January to March of 2015. So Glee was a very successful show. Like, if I was not there for the hype of the Glee success because in 2010 I was 5 years old, but it was very successful. Like, let's get into that. This is also from Wikipedia. Songs covered in the show were released through the iTunes store during the week of broadcast, and a series of Glee albums have been released by Columbia Records. The music of Glee has been a commercial success and over 36 million digital single sales and 11 million album sales worldwide through October 2011. The series' merchandise also includes DVD and Blu-ray releases, an iPad application, and karaoke games for the Wii Home video game console. There were live concert tours by the show's cast after the first and second seasons completed shooting. A concert film based on the 2011 tour, Glee the 3D concert movie, was produced by Murphy and Fox and directed by Kevin Tencharoen. I don't know how to say that name. But as you can see, that Glee was really successful. Like, Glee was super successful. Like, Glee was a big show. I just want to put that out there. Like, for all of us who are now or who were Gleeks in the years where Glee was not as popular or like nobody was talking about Glee. Like truly in 2019 there were a few Glee fan pages and Glee was just like something that was early 2010 cultural phenomenon. But it was really successful during that time and it was a big thing, and if you were a person on Glee, if you starred in Glee, you were a major celebrity. Like, it was not a small thing. Like it was not a small thing. Like, these people were mega celebrities. They went from virtually being unknown, which also gave the show its charm. Like Naya Rivera, also in her book, and also other people say that why Glee was also very successful is because most of its cast members were virtually unknown people. Like, they were not big names, except like maybe Jane Lynch, but most of them were not big names. So that really helped people focus on the show, and then they grew to love the cast. So let's move on to the set and the drama and the set. So let's first talk about the relationships that happened on the set of Glee, because a lot of relationships happened on the set of Glee. The Glee cast were known very much for getting into relationships with each other. Ryan Murphy enacted a rule that cast members were banned from doing the Devil's Tango on set because it became such a big problem. Like, it was such a big thing that he even enacted a rule and came out and said, yes, this is a rule on the set of Glee that people cannot have sex on set in their trailers, because it was a big thing that was happening on the set. So Ryan Murphy has said that he has a sex ban on the cast of Glee. Told Heat, which I think is like a publication. I've dated people and I've worked with, and you know, when you work on set for 18 hours a day, I think it's natural. But I have a rule. Don't do it in your trailer. They've broken that rule on many occasions. I'm like, I know you guys are young and hormonal, but don't do it in your trailer.
The behavior that you exhibited was whore-like. The whore jumped out, and then it jumped back in.
So, like, even Naya Rivera, I read Naya Rivera's book, Sorry Not Sorry, which is also a big part of the script. She even says that they had the sexual drive of bunnies. Like, they were going at it. Like, it was actually crazy how much these people like were doing it. Like, I don't know if this is just a fun fact, but like, it is just known that it was a thing, and Naya Rivera confirmed it. Before I get into the relationships that are connected to Glee or happened within Glee cast members, I want to put out that some of these relationships contain DV and were very toxic. In that segment, when I'm speaking about those couples, I'm not doing it for like drama purposes or like, oh, the scoop on these couples. Did you know that this happened? Like, this is some gossip. No, these are serious things. I don't find the trauma that some of these people went through to be dramatic in any way. I just want to shed a light on these situations because when I became a Gleek in 2019, I had no idea of these situations, and I just want to bring light to these situations to new Glee people who are like getting into Glee now who have no idea about the cast, because honestly the casts are people who are unknowns. Like, you're not going to like truly, I had no idea of some of these things before they came out. So let's get into it. Okay, so I have a list of people that dated each other either before Glee, after Glee, or during Glee. So before the show started, Lea Michele, who played Rachel Berry, dated Matthew Morrison, who played Mr. Shu, because their real life ages aren't that far apart. During the show, Lea Michele dated Cory Monteith. Naya Rivera dated Mark Saling, who played Noah Puckerman. Naya Rivera played Santana. Melissa Benoist, who played Marley Rose, and Blake Jenner, who played Ryder Lynn, got married, and then they divorced due to some DV issues that we'll be getting into. I got this from Cora. I don't know how true this is, but I know that some of these couples are true. Like, the Matthew Morrison, all these are true, but yes. So let's move to our first couple, which is Cory Monteith and Lea Michele. So according to Wikipedia, Michele began working with actor Cory Monteith in 2008 when they were cast as love interests on Glee. In February 2012, the media reported that they began dating. They remained together until his death in July of 2013. We'll be getting more into the details of their relationship, but that's covered more in Naya's book, which is also a segment in this video. So yeah, the next couple is a trigger warning for DV. So if you're triggered by DV, here is a time slot where you can skip. But honestly, this whole video is just gonna be jam-packed with a lot of trigger. Like what I said, it's like, I don't know what her name is. Like, I don't know why I watch YouTubers and I'm subscribed to them and then I don't know their names. Where like she did the Demi Lovato video and she told people like every imaginable trigger warning that is out there is in this video. So honestly, if you're not ready to deal with a lot of trigger warnings, or maybe DV is a big thing for you, just skip over. It's just gonna be a big thing. But yeah, skip to this time so if you don't want to hear about this couple. But it is Melissa Benoist and Blake Jenner. Blake Jenner was the abuser in this situation. I just want to put that out there before you skip, because I feel like he should not be given a platform. This is according to Wikipedia. So in 2015, it was announced that Melissa, I'm gonna call her Melissa because I don't know how to say her last name, and if I butcher it for the whole time I'm speaking about this, I feel like I will be so embarrassed. Melissa and her Glee co-star Blake Jenner were married. Melissa commented that they had been married longer than anybody knows, with some sources claiming that the couple actually wed the same year of their engagement in 2013. In late December 2016, she filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The divorce was finalized in December of 2017. So, in 2015, Melissa had suffered from an injury where she tore her iris, and at the time, she said that her injury was an accident. Like, she didn't say that it was because of Blake or whatever.
I became a very good liar to people that I really loved and had never lied to before. And then he threw something at my face again, only this time it was significantly worse. It was a blow to my face with his iPhone. The impact tore my iris, nearly ruptured my eyeball, lacerated my skin, and broke my nose. My left eye swelled shut, I had a fat lip, blood was coursing down my face, and I can remember immediately screaming at the top of my lungs. It was a pretty bad injury, and this eye is not going to recover, and my vision is still pretty blurry, and it's very weird in low light, and my pupil was dilated for a really long time after. After it happened, complete stillness blanketed the room. We panicked. He put me in the bath time, but this time that wouldn't be enough. This wasn't going to be easy to hide, let alone fix, and something inside of me broke. This was too far. I couldn't flush this one down with the tug of the drain. We made up a flimsy story together. I had tripped and fallen on the stairs of our deck and hit my face on a potted plant. We called our mothers, all of my representatives, who then had to call producers and directors I was working with. He drove me to the hospital. There were police officers at the hospital and doctors. The doctors had all pulled me aside and made him leave the room, and so many people had asked me what the origin of the injury was, and I stuck to the story, and I stuck to the story really well.
Because of their an argument, and the incident caused one pupil to be enlarged, and yeah, that's actually very serious. Melissa shared an Instagram video chronicling her experience as a survivor of domestic violence in order to raise awareness. She revealed that the injury to her iris was due to an iPhone being thrown at her during a domestic dispute in a relationship marked by repeated abuse. Previously, the injury had been said to have been caused when she tripped down the stairs and fell into a potted plant. Melissa also stated in her video that she had experienced extreme control, manipulation, and cycles of severe violence, including being slapped, punched, shoved into a wall, dragged by her hair, and choked during the relationship. This is absolutely disgusting. In October of 2020, her ex-husband Blake Jenner wrote a lengthy Instagram post in which he admitted to causing the eye injury and confirmed that the infliction of abuse throughout the relationship. He also stated that she had physically assaulted him at other times, resulting in injury. At the time, in 2019, I don't know when she posted that, but in 2019 when I got to know Glee, I honestly did not care for the season 4 cast of Glee. So honestly, I didn't even know Melissa and Blake Jenner in that way. I didn't even know their characters, the names of their characters. So I never knew this until it was later brought up after the fact, after I'd stopped watching Glee or being very obsessed with Glee. When I say I was obsessed with Glee, I was obsessed with Glee. Yeah, I came way after that, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know this. But they were a part of the cast and crew of season 4 where I didn't really know much about them, so I wouldn't have known this information in any way. But other parts of this video where something is brought up, I most definitely knew it. 2019, 2020. So, Mark Salling and Naya Rivera. Thank you to I don't know what the publication is called, Showbiz Cheat Sheet, because I was reading Naya's book, right? And someone is running a car outside. I hope you can't hear it. Everybody just decides to do things when I'm filming, but when I'm sitting here alone, the house is so quiet and nobody's entering the room and nobody's disturbing me, and it's just a vibe. But the moment I start filming, so thank you to Cheat Sheet, because when I was reading Naya's book in 2019, I read Naya's book. This Sorry Not Sorry, I read it. I read the book, and there was a part about Mark Salling. I went back. The audio book script that I'm subscribed to doesn't have the book, so I was like, I have to just look for the book on YouTube, because that's where I watched the book initially, and I found the whole book basically, and there was nothing about Mark Salling, and I was like, what the fuck? But she definitely talked about this, and I thought that I was misremembering, but I was like, no, she had to have talked about this, and she did. And thank you to Cheat Sheet for giving me this information, because I definitely knew that their relationship was toxic, and she did talk about it. So between 2008 and 2010, Rivera dated Glee co-star Mark Salling. The two had a rocky relationship and ultimately split at the request of Mark Salling's publicist. She later said that Salling breaking up with her felt like the worst thing ever at the time when they broke up. Salling was arrested in 2015 for possessing CP. In her book, she written before Mark Salling committed, Naya expressed that she was not totally shocked by this. And she, in an interview that I'm gonna put in, she said that he just had a dark aura. Like, he was just like kind of a dark person, and she was like, that's why she was not really taken aback by the release of this information.
With Mark, why do you say that you weren't surprised when the child charges came about?
He always was a very dark soul to me.
Naya Rivera speaks out on her ex-boyfriend and fellow Glee star Mark Salling. In June, the actor pleaded not guilty during his arraignment on 2 charges of child.
I just always felt like there was something that he was wrestling with.
The 29-year-old opens up about their former romance in her new tell-all, Sorry, Not Sorry, explaining why she's now grateful their relationship ended in 2010 after 3 years of dating. She writes, quote, "When Mark dumped me, I thought it was the worst thing ever, but can you imagine if that didn't happen and I was laying there in bed when the battering ram came through the door?" And when it comes to dating advice, Rivera recommends, quote, "Have that one relationship where you look back and ask yourself, what the hell was I thinking? You'll learn something and you won't regret it. Unless, of course, that relationship was with someone who had a sizable stash of child porn on his computer. Then, by all means, regret everything."
So, this is how they got to start dating, and yeah, Mori, I think that's his name, and Naya Rivera dated. And he broke up with her because at that time she was going through financial trouble, and she was not really booking roles. And he was like, girl, you're not on the same financial level as me, and I need to date someone on the same level as me. Kind of like a shitty thing to do. Shitty thing to say when you're breaking up with someone. But anyway. And so she says that after she broke up with him, he was like a long relationship, like it was a long-term relationship. She said that she had a string of randos. She says in her book, "My string of randos came to an end when I met Mark Salling at the Glee pilot." She says that he was cute, and she thought he was cute, and he played guitar, so that was like a bonus, you know? Mark really didn't notice her at first, but she really tried everything to get him to notice her because she thought he was cute. It worked, and Mark ended up noticing her. And so their first date was when Salling took Naya to Fright Fest at Magic Mountain. And for dinner, they got food from In-N-Out Burger and ate their meal in his car. She described his car as a piece of shit car with trash rolling around in the back seat. Naya Rivera said she and Salling constantly got into arguments. She said that he was also using drugs, and there was some infidelity in the relationship coming from Mark Salling's side. And they would constantly break up and get back together. Constantly break up and get together. And then one day, Mark was like, "Yeah, I'm breaking up with you." And that was the final breakup. And at the time, it was like, she didn't want him to break up with her. She was like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is the worst thing ever." As I said before, she was like, she like really didn't want it to happen. So this is a quote from her book that I got from Showbiz Cheat Sheet. I literally love you for this because I would have never found this without you. So Naya said in her book, this is a quote from her book, "So what I did learn from this completely dysfunctional relationship, nothing, absolutely nothing, until Mark's legal woes, Google it, made a few unsavory headlines on their own a few years later. I can't say I was totally shocked, but still, what the fuck? Then I had no doubt that God really did have my back along the way." When Mark dumped me, I thought it was the worst thing ever. But can you imagine if that didn't happen? And I was lying there in bed when the battering ram came through the door? Again, Google it. So that's what she said in her book. Now let's move on to Naya's book and her details about the cast members, and just go read this book. If you're interested in Glee and interested in Naya's story from like beginning to the end, I did read the book a long time ago, as I said, from the beginning to the end. Like, there are some things in the book that I thought like everybody knew, like the Big Sean Ariana Grande incident. I was like, this is like a no-brainer to me. Like, I thought everybody knew this thing that Naya said this in her book, and my sister had no idea. Like, Naya Rivera, like that song "I Don't You" was about her, and like I was like, I read her book. Like, I don't know, I read it a long time ago. Then I read it again for this video, but like I was more focusing on the Glee parts than the other parts, because the other parts of her life I'd already known about them. Like, I literally read this book and I still remembered it, so I was more focusing on the Glee parts. Anyway, let's get into Naya's book details. So her book that I encourage you to read is called Sorry Not Sorry: Dreams, Mistakes, and Growing Up. She was first she had a small time role. She felt like an outsider because she wasn't in the official Glee cast, like the official Glee club. Like, the official Glee club in the first episode are 5 members, which is Cory Monteith, who plays what's his name? Dude, like, I actually have memory, like I have the memory of a goldfish. Like, it's actually scary. Finn, Hudson, Rachel Berry, played by Lea Michele, Kevin McHale, who plays Artie Abrams, Nina Cohen-Chang, Nina Cohen-Chang, played by Jenna Ushkowitz, Kurt Hummel, and Mercedes Jones. So there were 6 people in the official Don't Stop Believing, Hold On to the
Security!
Guys, like, you're not getting the reference. Like, I wish the true Gleeks get the reference of the red shirt and the Don't Stop Believing. Anyway, so she felt like an outsider when she first got into Glee. Her and Diana Argon, who also played a Cheerio. She played Quinn Fabray. Naya Rivera played, I'm forgetting names again. She played Santana Lopez. Okay. So that all changed. Like, this small time role. Like, she said that she was like, even though Santana had a small time role, she was like, I'm gonna give this small time role the best thing I can give it, which is like, every time, she was obviously supposed to be like a bitch, so every time the camera, when people said something, she was rolling her eyes, she was doing all that, and she got Ryan Murphy's attention, and Ryan Murphy went up to her and Diana, and said, I think you guys should rehearse I Say a Little Prayer by Aretha Franklin. He was like, I think you guys should rehearse I Say a Little Prayer by Aretha Franklin, and maybe in the next episode you'll be singing it. And they were like, and the rest is history. Like, after that performance, which is iconic, by the way, the rest is history. Santana became like a very crucial character. So she first made friends with Diana Argon because Diana Argon and her were like Cheerios. They were part of the Cheerios, so she first made friends with Diana, and Diana was like just a cool person. That's how she describes it throughout the book. The set was like very friendly at first. Like, they were all having fun. They were all like young, and They all made each other laugh. It was really a good environment. And she said that when they first started, they would rehearse like the dancing and the stuff in a shed. That was like giving very much like, why are we rehearsing in this shed? And Lea Michele was like complaining about it, and she was like, this is the only thing I've ever agreed with Lea Michele on, is that shed was like, we should not be rehearsing here. And her first major song that she sang on Glee was The Boy Is Mine, season one, which is one of my favorite episodes of Glee. And her and Amber Riley killed it. And the reason that she was given The Boy's Mine is because she would do Monica impressions. Monica and Brandy are the original singers of The Boy's Mine. And Ryan Murphy thought it was so funny. And then he legit went up to her and he was like, hey, let's do The Boy's Mine. And she was like to him, should I do it more Monica or more like Santana? And he was like, just do a mix of both. And that's her first major song. And she says that the iconic like a virgin touched for the very first time.
Lord have mercy. Kim thinks she is a real pop star. Okay. Really, Kim.
When they're like doing like the choreo with Rachel Berry and girl, I'm not gonna remember his name, Jonathan Groff, and what is it called? Cory, Monteith, and Santana, Finn and Santana, and Mr. Shu, and the lady who was the guidance counselor. And yeah, she said that filming was very awkward because at that time she didn't really know Cory Monteith like that. So she was like, and she had to like grab him and touch him, and it was like really weird. Like, if you've watched the scene, like they're very hands-on. So she was like, that was really awkward. She also said her and Heather's scenes, Heather, I don't know. Heather Morris, I think, is her name, and would get really weird sometimes because they would like full on make out and say like, isn't like crazy lines, like Glee lines of like, isn't scissoring great, and things like that. And their biggest scene where like it was really awkward was their wedding scene in season 6. Like right before they got married, they had to like really kiss each other, and they were like, that was kind of awkward. So she said she was happy that Santana was a lesbian. That was her sexual orientation. It was a big part of Santana's story, truly. And she was a representation for our community. And she felt happy. Like, people send her, like, tweets saying, oh my gosh, like, your character is really inspiring to me. I'm also in that journey. Like, I'm also like, that's my sexual orientation, and Santana's story really gives me like, I feel represented. The cast were very close knit, and they were super involved in each other's lives on set and off set. Like, they would go to each other's trailers after filming, and they would have dinners together. Like, they were like very much each other's lives. Kevin and Jenna Ushkowitz, Kevin McHale and Jenna Ushkowitz, who still are today best friends, had an apartment where the cast hung out, and Naya was often at that apartment. They would just do crazy things, and at the time there was no animosity between her and Lea Michele. Like, even Lea one time, who never went out, according to Naya Rivera, was at their apartment hanging out with Naya, Kevin, and Jenna. So the Glee tour, she spoke on the Glee tour. She said that she didn't really understand the full capacity of like where she was performing, but she said that it was exhilarating and tiring at the same time. Like, she said that they performed at Madison Square Garden, and they, like, when they performed there initially, she didn't understand how, like, big of a deal it was. But when she went back there, she was like in the future or later, she was like, oh my gosh, like, this is a big place to fill it, a whole entire audience. And yeah, she was really thankful that, you know, that all happened. So there's this scene that I even remembered when I was listening to it. I remembered everything, honestly, about this book, except like some of these other things. But she said her and Cory had like a brother-sister relationship, and they like never really did anything. And there's like a thing where like they were having a party, their hangouts, and her and Cory were on the balcony, and he asked her like, why haven't we ever kissed? Why haven't we ever like hooked up or made out or something like that? And she was like, I just don't see you that way. And he's like, we've never even kissed. And then she like pecks him on like the mouth, and then she's like, there. They never really had that. They were always brother and sister relationship, very much. And she was like, this was very rare in the cast of Glee, like a brother and sister relationship strictly between like opposite sexes or same sex, I don't know. So regarding Cory Monteith, she said that Cory Monteith was sober until season 3. Like, he was very open. She said that he was very open about his drug abuse and his history with alcohol and drug abuse, and that he was a drug addict. And he was very open about that. And up until season 3, he was sober. And one night they went out to dinner to celebrate and have cocktails, and he ordered a cocktail. And then they were like, oh, like, because like it was the first time they'd ever seen Cory Monteith have a drink in like his whole life, like in not in his whole life, in like from the time they knew him until now. And then he was like, oh, I just want to be able to drink in moderation, like just like normal drinking. And they were like, oh, okay. But like, she says that at the time they didn't really understand the full scope of of drug abuse, that moderation doesn't work. Like, it doesn't, not like they didn't understand the seriousness of drug abuse, but like they didn't understand that just doesn't work. Like, there's this clip from Elton John, who I got this clip from when this YouTuber was talking about Demi Lovato. I'm literally subscribed to her. I don't know her name. Talking about Demi Lovato, and in Demi Lovato's documentary, Elton John, who's also had a history of drug abuse, and he went through the ringer with that one. He said, no, moderation is not going to work. It just doesn't work for a drug addict. It's just not going to work. You will want more, and you will do more, and it's just not going to work. And I think I don't even know, but like that's what Elton John said from his own experience. So she says when Cory and Lea started dating, it was like a full surprise to the cast members. They were like kind of taken aback. And the longer and the more serious Lea and Cory's relationship became, the less the cast members saw Cory out of like offset and stuff. Like, they wouldn't hang out as much as they used to. But, and like, he seemed like a different person. That's what Naya Rivera said. But she was happy that even despite her differences with Lea Michele, and at this point I don't think they really had really big issues. I feel like their big issues really came after season 3. But she says that she was really happy, or at least satisfied, that he got into a relationship with Lea, because Lea Michele was very stable. She would bring stability to his life. Because Cory Monteith before was like a partier, not drugs and alcohol, but like he would throw parties at his house, and he very much would love to hang out and like have a good time, but like not with alcohol and drugs, like of course because he was sober. But like he was like that, and Lea Michele was the opposite. Like, she very much would bring stability and she was a good influence in his life because she wasn't a partier. She wasn't someone like that. And she says that when they met Cory one time when they were like filming, he had gotten really skinny. And they were like, okay, like they didn't really understand that. And he was like, oh, I'm just like, I've been exercising and stuff. And then on July 13, 2013, everything just happened. And she was in London with her then boyfriend, who was like a singer or something. I don't even know his name. When she found out that Cory Monteith had died of a drug and alcohol overdose. So I just want to go into what happened to Cory Monteith during that time. So on July 13, 2013, this is from Wikipedia, Monteith was found dead in his room at the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel in Vancouver. He was 31 years old. Monteith was scheduled to check out that day following a 7-night stay. But when he failed to do so, hotel staff entered his room around noon and found his body. The Vancouver Police Department stated the cause of death was not immediately apparent, but ruled out foul play. An autopsy was completed by the British Columbia Coroner's Service on July 15. The preliminary autopsy report stated that Monteith died from a mix of drug toxicity consistent of heroin and alcohol, and that his death appeared to have been accidental. The final report released by the British Columbia Coroner's Service on October 2, 2013 confirmed these findings. It noted that Monteith also had codeine and morphine in his system and at that time of his death and at the time of his death, and that he was found with drug paraphernalia that included a spoon with drug residue and used a hypodermic needle, as well as 2 empty bottles of champagne. The coroner wrote that Monteith had experienced intermittent periods of drug abuse and abstinence throughout his life, and that after a period of cessation from opioid drug use, a previously tolerated drug concentration level may become fatal and toxic. His stay in rehab only months before his death and his attempt to stay off drugs resulted in his lowered tolerance to the drug. Cory Monteith's body was cremated on July 17 in Vancouver following a private viewing by his immediate family and his girlfriend, Lea Michele.
Now to another story that is breaking overnight. A star of the popular show Glee found dead in his hotel room in Vancouver. The body of Cory Monteith, who played the character Finn, was found by the hotel staff. His sudden death stunning co-stars and fans. ABC's Lindsay Janis is in Los Angeles with this developing story. Lindsay.
Paula, as you can imagine, there's just an outpouring of grief right now from friends and family online. One of the latest tweets is from singer Taylor Swift, who dated Monteith. She says, speechless, and for the worst reason.
Oh, why you look so sad?
Cory Monteith, who played the football hero turned singing heartthrob Finn Hudson in the Fox hit Glee, was found dead in his Vancouver hotel room Saturday at the age of 31. Staff became worried when Monteith failed to check out on time and found the star's body unresponsive in his room.
The deceased has been identified as 31-year-old actor Cory Monteith, who achieved great fame on the popular TV series Glee.
Vancouver police said the cause of death was not immediately apparent, but the star was clearly deceased when paramedics arrived. They've ruled out foul play. Surveillance cameras show the star entering his hotel room alone in the early hours of Saturday morning.
I don't think I want to be your boyfriend.
Monteith had always been open about his lifelong battle with substance abuse, which he said started with drugs at the age of 13. The actor voluntarily checked himself into a treatment center back in April. It was his second time in rehab. Twitter's been flooded with an outpouring of support and love for the late star. Tweets from co-stars like Mark Salling, who played one of Cory's best friends, Puck, on Glee, simply wrote the word no. Kristen Chenoweth, who also appeared on the show, writes, R.I.P. Cory Monteith. You will be loved, always.
I'm marrying you and nothing makes me happier.
Monteith was famously involved on screen and off with actress Lea Michele. The two are working on the 5th season of Glee.
Monteith is survived by his parents and older brother. The reaction is just pouring in as Hollywood starts waking up to this news. The star's representative tells us we are in shock and mourning this tragic loss. Paul and Dan?
Lindsay, Janice, thank you. Such a long struggle beginning at age 13. Really sad.
And sad that he had just recently checked himself into a clinic for substance abuse, so he was trying to get help.
As you can see, like, my whole time I was reading that, I was just like, this is like really unfortunate and sad. When you lose someone to drug abuse, it's really painful because it's like, she said that she was in London and she was like on the phone with Kevin McHale and they were like crying through it, and it was just, it sounded to be very traumatic. And I feel really like that episode, The Quarterback, which they filmed in tribute to Cory Monteith, was very traumatic for them, like the cast. Like the crying that you're seeing on the scene, like Santana crying, Rachel crying, Artie crying, that was the cast. They were crying their eyes out, and they were like, they had no break between this death and their next filming. Like they went straight into filming the next season. And this episode, I've only watched it once, and I've watched Glee tons of times, and I'm telling you, I've only watched this episode once because I was like crying. I felt so bad, and I felt like, I don't know, like immense pain for these people who lost someone who was very close to them, you know? And I would be watching, season 3 has a prom episode, and sometimes I would tear up at this moment of this prom episode, and you're like, why? And I was like, because like someone like you look at someone, you're like this person had so much to live for, and sadly they passed away. And it was like, sometimes I would tear up watching that episode. I don't know why. But yeah. So we are also going to later talk about Naya Rivera's tragic passing also. But I just want to say this now, since I've talked about the first tragic passing that has happened within the Glee cast. These are real human beings who passed away. So for all the losers and weirdos who say, oh my gosh, there's a Glee curse, oh my gosh, the class of Glee is cursed, like, just don't do that. That is so disrespectful to not only the people who passed away, but like their families. Like their families are forever affected by grief. Like, as someone who has also gone through a traumatic experience with grief, like, I'm not gonna put my trauma here, but I can say that I can't even explain the pain to someone who has never went through that. So if you imagine the families going through that, and you're here, oh my gosh, guys, there's a Glee curse, like, maybe just don't do that. Like, maybe you're not doing it ill-intentionally, whatever. Like, you're trying to do your little conspiracy theories, but like, these are real people. Like, go do a conspiracy theory about the Mandela effect and Monopoly, whether he had a fucking I got thingy or he didn't. Like, do that. Don't do it on real people. Thank you. So let's move on. Let's move on to a big chunk, huge chunk of this video, and which you can't talk about the cast of Glee without talking about this one person, and that is Lea Michele. Yay! Let's talk about her now. Before we get into Lea Michele, I want to talk about her as how I perceived her when I was a Glee fan. I really liked Lea Michele. Like, I followed her on Instagram. I liked her posts. I don't know. At the time, which I find to be very unfortunate. At the time, Lea Michele was painted to be like, oh, this girl next door. But like, there were also like rumors spreading that she was like kind of hard to work with and the Glee cast didn't like her. But like, I was like, maybe they just are not close, like, with her. Like, they would have Glee reunions and it would be like the other cast members and Lea Michele was never there. She was never invited. And I would see those things and I'm like, but I actually like Lea. And very much it was painted as if Naya Rivera was a crazy person who was lying on Lea Michele's unprofessional behavior. That's how it was painted. And I feel like that's very unfortunate because Lea Michele did in fact have a very unprofessional behaviors on set. Like, we can't lie. Like, I don't hate Lea Michele now even. I don't even care. Like, when all the things I'm gonna talk about later happened, truly my care for Lea Michele was zero. Like, zero. Like, I did not even care. So, yeah. I just liked Finchel and I kind of did not hate Bridget Berry, which people are gonna be like, why? It's because I like Finchel. So, and yeah, it was just crazy. Like, I don't know. It was just like a 14-year-old who was like on Twitter who didn't really care. So let's talk about Naya and Lea, because that's also a big part of the Lea Michele drama. Because Naya Rivera was one of the only brave people to come out and say, like, this bitch is unprofessional. She does not have professional behaviors on set, which I agree with. She was not professional on set. Okay, so let's get into Naya and Lea Michele. So Naya in her book said that she never hated Lea Michele. Like, she said that Lea and her are very similar. They both have very strong personalities. And you know, when people with strong personalities mix, it can either be good, like really amazing, or it can most of the times be really bad. And this time it was really bad. Like, in the beginning, she says that her and Lea Michele were friends. Like, they would go to the spa, and once they like were hanging out in Leah's apartment and Naya was giving her advice on what items to keep and toss, like, and there was something mentioned in the book, like when Lea and Cory started dating, Naya was like, oh, you have to be more sexy, so let's like go lingerie shopping. Then after that, they went and ate Subway or something. So like they were just close, like friendly, like. And then as the show progressed, and this was in 2012 when they started dating, when Lea Michele started dating Cory Monteith. So 2012 was like season 3 of Glee. Season 2? Yeah, season 3. Like, it was just season 4, like season 3. So it was like that's why I'm saying, like, their problems started definitely after season 4, like defo. But like the first 3 seasons, I think they were kind of close. As the show progressed, their relationship deteriorated because, according to Naya Rivera, what she thinks, because Santana was becoming a bigger character, and Naya says that Lea is a person who doesn't like to share the spotlight, in her opinion, and I think that's true. she's very much like Rachel Berry. And in the book, she says, I think Rachel, sorry, I mean Lea, like being shady, saying that Lea and Rachel are kind of similar in that way, that they don't like sharing the spotlight. And I think that's true also. But it, guys, like, that's just my opinion. Naya says in her book that Lea felt as if when Naya like made an offhand comment about like, oh, someone's scene was done wrong or this, or complained about something, Lea felt as if Naya was talking about her or like saying things about her, but like in an incognito, girl, I don't even know that word, why am I using it, in like a hush hush way. And by season 6, like, Lea was full on not talking to Naya Rivera, like completely ignoring Naya Rivera. But Naya claims that most of the stories about their feud were drummed up and exaggerated. And she speaks about an episode that Chris Colfer wrote, which I think was like in season 5, season 6, I don't know. And they had like dogs on set. And then Lea Michele was like being really rude. And she was being really inconsiderate. And I'm sorry if like, allegedly, I don't know. But I remember like hearing this. That Lea Michele, if she didn't like something, she would like go into her trailer and lock the door and stay there. And you know, like, filming time in Hollywood is very important. Like, we're renting the set, babe. We don't have time to waste. We need to film. And she would just lock herself in an apartment and like act like a toddler throwing a tantrum. And because she didn't like something. And all these things were just rumors at the time in 2019. Truly, these things are just rumors. Like, truly, these things are just rumors. Like, they're just rumors. Like, there's no credible source. There's also a funny story. It's just the thing that I'm about to talk about after this is not funny. But there's a funny story of Haley Steinfeld when she met Naya Rivera on like the set, on like the lot, the Paramount lot. And she went to talk to Naya Rivera, and Naya Rivera was just like, not Naya Rivera, Lea Michele was just like, just completely ignored it. Yo, like, why didn't we clock this? Or I didn't clock it. Like, I don't know. But, like, there were so many Lea Michele stan pages. Like, there's still, to this day, Lea Michele stan pages. Like, as I was looking for, like, Lea Michele's bad behavior, which she did have bad behavior, like, guys, we can't lie. There were still people defending her. Like, it was crazy. So, I just want to discuss a very sad topic next, because this is the last time I'll be mentioning Naya Rivera, and that is Naya Rivera's passing. So on July 8th, 2020, this is according to Wikipedia again, American actress and singer Naya Rivera was declared missing after she failed to return from a boating excursion on Lake Peru near her home in California. So, like, I remember when this happened. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I just remember when this happened. And the true crime people, like, the true crime community is very, like, they were really squeezing the videos on this tragic thing. Like, sometimes the true crime community, and that's a different story for another day. Shortly afterwards, her rented boat with her 4-year-old son Josie was located. Her son was unharmed, and a search was conducted by various authorities in Southern California. And though Rivera was presumed dead the next day, the search lasted until the morning of July 13, 2020. When her body was discovered and she was pronounced dead from drowning at the age of 33. This death still pains me to this day and hurts my soul, because I was a big fan of the show when this happened. I had to put that in as a message because, guys, like, when this message came out, I was devastated as a fan. And I cannot imagine the devastation that her family felt, and I'm even tearing up, guys, that the Glee cast felt when she passed away, because it was really sad. And in her book, in the beginning of her book, she, the dedications, she dedicates her to her mom and to her son, and she's like, she loves him more than anything in the world. And damn, I'm even tearing up. Anyway, that was a topic to talk about. Okay, I have puppies, and they're just now decided to bark for no reason. Okay, let's move on to even more controversial stuff and even more headache stuff, inducing stuff. Okay, let's move on to all the 2020 stuff about Lea Michele, because there's a lot of drama there. So in 2020, that is when it was confirmed that Lea Michele is a bad person, or is a really bratty, thinks that she's important type of person. 2020 was about the Black Lives Matter movement and George Floyd's tragic passing. And Lea Michele tweeted, I'm not laughing at the tweet, I'm laughing at how this tweet just completely ruined her career, low-key. But her career is still she's on Funny Girl, her career is fine. But she tweeted, George Floyd did not deserve this. This was an isolated incident and it must end. # Black Lives Matter. Why am I laughing? I'm just laughing at because this tweet just caused an array of crazy things to happen. So Sammy Ware, or Samaya Ware, I don't know who she is, but she was on Glee, and she played a character on Glee on the seasons that I didn't care about. So she says, laughing my ass off, remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? 'Cause I'll never forget. I believe you told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would shit in my wake, amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood. Boom! Everybody was aghast. This tweet set the Lea Michele is the girl next door out the window. Out the window. And this was still when Naya Rivera was alive. So the Glee cast who had followed her, Naya was following Lea at this time, I still remember, and they all unfollowed her. It was really crazy, and people started coming out with their own stories. So someone says, in LA in 2014, I made money by being an extra on Glee, and Lea Michele was a tyrant. She screamed at staff and once randomly had an extra fired, only to find out it was Barbra Streisand's niece, and then quickly asked for her back on set to get in touch with her aunt. I believe that this is fake. This sounds like a fake ass story. I'm sorry. Barbra Streisand's niece is a fucking on Glee. Why is she playing a leading role in one episode? Girl, bye. And people were coming out with stories, extras. I remember there was one story where someone said that Lea Michele was chewing gum. Girl, this is crazy. Lea Michele was chewing gum, and she was open your hand to an extra, and then she spit in there. I don't know if that's real. Some of these things are far-fetched, guys. But Heather Morris, that was her name, I was correct. Heather Morris tweets, let me be very clear, hate is a disease in America that we're trying to cure. So, I would never wish for hate to be spread to anyone else. With that said, was she unpleasant to work with? Very much so. For Lea to treat others with the disrespect that she did for as long as she did, I believe she should be called out. And yet, it's also on us, because to allow it to go on for so long without speaking out is something else we're learning along with the rest of society. But at the current moment, it's implied that she is a racist. And although I cannot comment on her beliefs, I think we're assuming, and you know what happens when we all assume. Yeah, because people were thinking that Lea Michele is a racist because of what's that Samia Ware tweeted. And also Samia Ware was photographed with Blake, the Blake Jenner guy, and people were like, why are you with an abuser? Like, it was really crazy. Glee is really crazy. And Amber Riley also came out and said that she didn't think that, I'll put all the footage here, she didn't think that Lea Michele was a racist.
And if your feeling was, I am not going to allow you to jump on what is happening now when you didn't treat me right. Now, what I will say is, I am not going to say that Lea Michele is racist. That's not what I'm saying. That was the assumption because of what's going on right now in the world, and it happened toward a Black person. Right. I'm not going to say that she's racist. She reached out to me. I responded to her, and that's where it ends for me. I ain't talked to that girl in 2 years. Right. You know what I'm saying? I have no hatred or ill will on that end. And I want to make that very clear that my life and what I talk about is not going to be about that. I will shut it down immediately. This is the first and last time I'm going to say something. Period. So you got the exclusive.
So I'm stupid and I didn't add this part into the video, but Lea Michele in 2020 did come out with an apology, and I remember even reading it at the time. And in the apology, very much it was giving Notes app apology. It was a Notes app apology. And 2, it was giving, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way. But like in complex words. So I'm gonna put it in. You guys can read it. What is it called? Chris Colfer recently was asked, like on Twitter or whatever, when he was asked, I'll put it in. I don't know if it's true, but he was asked, would you want to, like, would you ever go see Lea Michele on Funny Face is Audrey Hepburn, Funny Girl. Would you ever want to go see it? And she was like, and he was like, if I want to torture myself, I will do it at home. Something like that. Go by. That was funny and that was shady. But hey, he was traumatized by this girl on set. Like, let's not lie. So let's move on to the next segment, which I just added because I feel like I've been talking about a lot of dark things. So let's talk about something light. Can Lea Michele read? Guys, when I tell you that TikTok comes out with the stupidest things, I'm not joking. Like, people are like, I've never seen Lea Michele read a book. I've never seen... I don't even know how it started. People started like people are like, Lea Michele doesn't read her lines. She has... Obviously, it's a whole joke. Lea Michele doesn't read her lines. She has like a little mic, like earphone, and someone speaks into it and reads lines to her, and she just reads them out loud because she can't read. And they've never seen her read a book, and it was just like a big thing. Like, Lea Michele can't read. There was like a big joke, and even Lea Michele got in on the joke on her TikTok. And yeah, that's it. Yo, when I say I'm tired before I even film this video, yep, that's the rest. This is the video. That's all. And if you're asking yourself why I didn't put Mark Saling's things into this video, it's because I want to keep this video as highlighted as it can be, because this video was already dark as hell. And there's a great video by the channel called Dreaded that talked about Mark Saling's childhood all the way to the case and all the way to his, you know, his death. So you go watch that video. I'm not going to talk about someone possessing CP and all that, because I really don't want to get into that, and I didn't want to get into that, honestly, because it was, someone already made a really great video about it in greater detail, and like Mark Saling's life, and I feel like that you guys should go watch that video if you want to know about Mark Saling. But that's it. That's my Glee video on the cast of Glee, the drama on Glee. Me here to end this video. I went on a whole like 30-minute rant. As you can see, like at some point in this video, the tiredness took over and I started to act a bit crazy. But hey, like guys, I was tired when I did this video. I'm tired all the time, and so I was like kind of losing it by the end, and it's because I worked the script, the process, all this, it took such a long time, and it was so like, it consumed like most of my day, like watching videos on Glee and stuff. I was like, and some of these things are traumatic, and I was just like, guys, it was a lot, and I'm coming here to end this video and not talk a lot. Thank you to all the new people who are subscribed. I have seen all these new subscribers. My video just on Cory Never just hit 2.6k views, and I'm just so happy that you liked it, and I'm so happy to all the new people who subscribed. I hope you enjoyed this video. This video was really hard to edit and film. Like, I had a lot of footage and I was going crazy by the end. It was really hard, so thank you, and I hope my next video will be entertaining. I hope you subscribe, and I hope you like, and I hope you like the video.